evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning Fan Show. Thank you all for tuning in this evening. It is a great day, bittersweet day. Let's be real, okay? It is bittersweet. The United Bowl happened. It was as advertised, as my guest this evening, Joe Stasi, said during his broadcast. Great calls all game long. Great call on the last touchdown of the game, and then the final play of the game. But man, it doesn't get much better than that. Now, this was my third United Bowl that I've covered. Third United Bowl, period. And you always worry when it's advertised as such a great matchup and it's going to come down to the wire. And then you worry, like, what if it's a blowout? You know, what if you know with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter who's going to win? But you didn't. No. I mean, if you didn't see this game, you missed out. Plain and simple. And the other part about it is that if you think that there is a better Midwest indoor league than the indoor football league, you are sorely mistaken. Like, this game proved without shadow of a doubt that it is the league, the competitive league to be a part of. And I was there to witness the game that basically screamed that from the rooftops. It was amazing. So I do want to give a big congratulations to the new 2018 Indoor Football League champions, the Iowa Barnstormers. That's right. One more time for the Iowa Barnstormers. Final score of 42-38. It was, man, seriously, what more can you say about this game than what's already been said? So we had several score changes, a game of catch-up, right? Like, it looks like who's going to score last. And with Connor Ferguson, who was there from Last Word on Sports, him and I were at Media Day. We did a couple of video segments, one talking about Media Day and the other one discussing the game before it happened. And he asked what I thought would be my keys to victory, the points of the game. And I said, you know, you've got two great quarterbacks that top of the league. One was the league MVP for the IFL. The other was my pick for MVP for the league. And you have amazing weapons on offense, too, in their wide receiving core. So I said, whoever can stretch the field and make quick scores, and then whichever defense could bend but not break was going to come out on top. Iowa, man, a hat trick for Ryan Ballantyne, and it was in the clutch, right? Every one of them was when they needed it. He was wide open, 2 out of 3 of them. One of them, though, he went up and grabbed, and that was an incredible play. And the Sioux Falls Storm was the only one between the two of them that had to settle for a field goal. They did that going into the half, and it was the difference maker. If they have a touchdown there, who knows what that last series would have been like for either the Storm or the Barnstormers. But several lead changes then beyond that point. Iowa comes back. They run a phenomenal 1-minute drill. They leave 13 seconds on the clock after a touchdown that was the epitome of this whole team, this whole season, where they ran it, fought through, broke a few tackles, ran into a wall, and when it looked like he was going to be stopped at the 1-yard line, the entire offensive line comes and gives him a boost and pushes him into the end zone. Touchdown, 4-point game, 13 seconds on the clock. Field goal is good, but they challenge it, so they have to push him back, and this was already after a penalty. So Josh Gable had to make not one but two extra points, made them both. So now it's a 4-point game, not a 3-point game. And again, that settling for a field goal really, really looming right there. They would throw to the end zone twice, once out of the end zone, the other one into the stands. You didn't know if it was complete or not, came up incomplete, and that was the ball game. So the Iowa Barnstormers' first championship in franchise history. Coach Dixie Wooten, a riot. Ryan Ballantyne, the MVP of the game, the fan show player of the game, and just a great moment for Des Moines and the entire state of Iowa. So once again, congratulations to the Iowa Barnstormers, the flight crew, and the Barnstormer fans out there. You guys really earned this one. Voice of the Iowa Barnstormers, Joe Stasi, will be joining me here in about 10 minutes. He was on the call. Whirlwind of emotions that day, of course, the late Larry Kotler. They were playing for him as he passed away last week, tragically, unexpectedly, due to flash flooding in Iowa. But it was just such a great atmosphere, probably one of the best crowds that I've seen in all my years of covering the Indoor Football League. And now the Spokane had the shock, and they had some great crowds. But, man, to see a city rally around a team like this for this moment, you hate to use the word bandwagon, and I'm not going to. I believe that they knew what they were coming out to support, and the team did not disappoint. Coach Wooten really put it's like he spoke it into existence, which has been somewhat of a trend in the world lately. And he's been saying championship mindset all season long. Well, they now have the championship, and they are in the right mindset. So Dixie Wooten, man, 2-time coach of the year, and he's just he's so different. There was the media day, and him and Coach Riggs, you couldn't ask for two more opposite personalities when it comes to head coaches, right? Two completely different people in the same position. Coach Riggs, very reserved, very soft-spoken, likes to do all his talking and let his talk speak through his actions on the field through coaching. He's brought the Sioux Falls Storm all of their championships, 10 of them, and they've been to the United Bowl. This was, I think, their 8th straight year, first time on the road. And then Coach Wooten, this is his first time to the dance, right? And, he's just sort of relaxing. He's a man who's not short of a comment, who shows his emotions, both good and bad, if you're a player, and bad, out there on that sideline or on the bench. And he was just very, very loose during the press conference. And, I think it was great for him. It was great for his players. All the guys that I know on the Barnstormers, but man, what a terrific game! It's definitely a high bar that has been set. It's going to be very hard for them to, top that one next year. But talked with Commissioner Mike Alshouse, who I do have some comments from him, as well as the rest of my post-game interviews that I conducted that I'll play throughout the show. But Joe Stasi joining me in a little bit, so I guess really there's not much headlines to do, but we'll go ahead and we'll play the little sound bit anyway. The headlines are: the Iowa Barnstormers are your 2018 Indoor Football League United Bowl champions. And now the season is over. Now we will talk, we will speculate. Speculation game is always a fun one. In fact, my guest for Thursday night said that he wants to be on specifically to play the speculation game. And it's going to be a lot of fun because he's, as of right now, one of the candidates in the running for the Cedar Rapids Titans head coaching job. A man who I will go ahead and openly say has my vote of confidence for that position because I believe he could do great things for that organization under new ownership. I believe he has the right interests of the player in mind and always at the forefront. So he would be a very attractive hire for players wanting to come and play there. And I think he's a face that a lot of fans would put their trust in feeling confident about buying, if not season tickets, then at least tickets to some of the games there. It's going to be a process, right? It's going to be some rebuilding there. Ownership group, though, they seem very confident. A lot of good things coming out of Iowa over the United Bowl weekend. There was a lot of familiar faces. Coach Kevin Guy was in attendance. We had some people from the Omaha Beef Quad City Steamwheelers. So the talk now, of course, is the future. Believe the brightest days for the IFL are ahead. 6 teams was a tough one, especially coming off the offseason that it did. But I think that they proved that they are above the rest of the Midwest indoor leagues with this United Bowl game this weekend and just everything that went on. So the Pettits, Lamberti, the owner, it was such an honor to meet him. Him and his wife bought a couple of fan show shirts. Thank you to the flight crew and the guys I tailgated with and that whole group. You guys were a hoot. It was so much fun to be there and be part of that and host that for you guys. Hoping to do it next year, which also, a headline in case you missed it, I have officially announced my free agency, as I call it, which has been one of the funnest things that I've done in regards to the show. And I know for players, when they announce free agency, it causes a lot of discussion and headlines. And, it's like, who's gonna pony up the big check, make the best offer? Where are they going to land? And it's kind of fun to watch. Now, of course, if you were a fan of that player and that team that they were on, it's kind of heartbreaking and bittersweet to see them go into free agency. But what it means for me is simple. I'm ready to take my career in sportscasting, broadcasting, whatever it is, media, entertainment, to the next level, take the next step. So we are willing to relocate. We are looking to relocate. I am a fan. I cover a league from a city that doesn't have a team. I'm up here marooned on an island that is Spokane after the Spokane Empire closed up shop last season at the end of it, and there's been no talk of a new team since. Now, even if there was, even if a team was coming back, that's not enough to stay here where I am when so much of what goes on in these leagues is out there in the Midwest and on the East Coast. So it's just better for me. It's smarter for me to seek out opportunities away from here. And I will never forget what Spokane has done for me. I'm born and raised here, grew up here, started the fan show here, started a family here, got married here, and so this will always be where it all began, but this isn't where it will go and where it will end. This is simply starting the next chapter. So I am taking offers, I guess, taking suggestions for sure on where you guys would like to see me end up, whether it's a vacancy for play-by-play or color commentary. Maybe somebody needs a PA announcer. Maybe a team has been looking for a guy to host weekly coaches shows with players and fans, because that's a very popular thing. That's one of the ways that you get your fans excited and interacted with the team. And so maybe that's something that they need. Maybe the league is looking for someone to do a weekly show with players and coaches from around the league, or maybe they'd like to send someone to particular matchups to cover those exclusively with a bit more, a little flair, something that I do that I've done on my own. So there's already been some conversations started, some emails sent, some phone calls made. A lot of people backing me, suggesting I go here, there, or elsewhere. But the best part is that this doesn't mean the fan show has to change or be no more. Just I'm wanting to be employed in a field that is what I am working so tirelessly towards. I mean, I'm going to school as part of the first class of the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. I work at a call center. And I do the show. Like, the call center is my day job that pays for me to do the show because I don't get paid to do the show. So that is my big news, my big headline. And so with the last couple of minutes here before I bring on Classy Joe Stacy, let's go ahead. What one do I want to play for you guys first here? Let's have it be drum roll. A couple of minutes. Let's do the interview with Fan Show Player of the Game, Ryan Ballantyne. Here are his comments after the Iowa Barnstormers' big win over the Sioux Falls Storm.
I'm here with the Fan Show Player of the Game, which I will say is a bit more prestigious than MVP because he gets some bling right here. He will get a one-of-one championship belt for the 2018 United Bowl, a hat trick to boot, championship win. Ryan Ballantyne, how you feeling, man?
Oh, man, it's an amazing feeling. Glad we can bring a championship here to Des Moines. It was all for the fans.
Now, of course, you had the performance of the night. Was there anything going through your mind as far as, I got to step up or it's on me? Because there was a few times where they needed to convert and they went to you and they got in the end zone.
I consider myself as a vet just like anybody else looks at me. And so, I look at myself to make plays for my team just because I know they look up to me.
You've been a vet in this league for a while. What does this win mean to you, though, as far as can you finally hang them up and ride off into the sunset?
Look, I got more personal goals in the ring, but we checked one off the bucket list.
There's going to be a new banner that drops next year next to Kurt Warner, some conference titles, and a division title. Now it'll say IFL champion. What does it mean to you to bring that here to the people of Des Moines, Iowa?
Oh, man, it's incredible. I can't even really find the words for it, but, we did it for the fans. We did it for everybody that was in the locker room with each other, and we've been doing this for a long time, since February, so it's been a long time coming.
A man who is soft-spoken with the microphone but speaks loud out there on the field. 3 touchdowns, Fan Show Player of the Game, Ryan Ballantyne. Thank you so much, man. Congrats.
Appreciate you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and round up my first guest, Joe Stasi, the voice of the Iowa Barnstormers. We will be right back with more of the Fan Show after this.
You're listening to The Fan Show, your home for all things football and nonsense. My special guest tonight, Farouk. Farouk, welcome.
He's no expert, but here's the thing. Football and nonsense is what he brings. Sports talk with a twist. It's The Fan Show.
Do you know him as Kevin from the League? It is none other than very funny Steve Ranazisi.
99% of the population doesn't know who I am, but the 1% do. They yell and scream inappropriate things at me in public.
Kyle Ray. Kyle, welcome.
And I was like, wow, I think we just saw the whole Super Bowl, Phyllis. It's like that scene in The Simpsons. Like, why rent the movie? I just saw the best part.
Funny man Brad Williams.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I flew in just for your podcast. I've heard about this podcast. I've heard it's fantastic.
It's Mac and Farva, but they are my special guests tonight. Steve Lemmy, Kevin Heffernan.
I was in Mexico for 10 weeks in a Speedo. Like, that was me going to work. I was putting on a Speedo.
Like, Farva is the most fun to play, and it was a blast to do that again, to do Farva again.
So then the makeup artist had to put Vaseline on your body, right? Yeah. And then put the powdered sugar on top of that. Is your name really Richard Siemens?
Listen live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night on Spreaker.com or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud.
Do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he is the man with the call, and he got to call the first ever Iowa Barnstormers championship victory game. It is Joe Stasi, the voice of the Barnstormers. How you feeling today, Joe?
You know what? Terrific. After a very long, I'm assuming for a lot of your listeners, kind of a ratcheted up week, if you will, with the 4th of July being in the middle of the week and people trying to work and taking vacation days. And then, with the Iowa Barnstormers situation, losing a good friend and a colleague, Larry Collar, who, was lost and went home to be with the Lord in the flooding Saturday before the United Bowl, and then calling the United Bowl, and then just trying to get back to work. It's a blessing, and at the same time, I feel like I'm about 2 weeks behind everything.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It always feels like you're playing so much catch up when you do one of these types of weekends. But there was a lot that had happened leading up to the game, as you said. The loss of Larry was a terrible thing, just really terrible timing. But it seemed like it added so much more to this game. Not that it needed it, but there was just something kind of special about the atmosphere there in the well. And then, of course, to have his family be a part of it to the lengths that they were, being honored before the game. And then, of course, you up in the box making the call. When it was said and done and the clock hit 0, of course, I've heard the call of you on the last touchdown on the final play of the game. But once it was done and settled, like, what was the emotion there for you? Was it like a weight had been lifted, or like, it's about time? Like, what was your feeling being champion now?
Well, I mean, and everybody, you get congratulations as being part of the organization and just being a small spoke. And I always tell people I didn't make any tackles and I didn't score any touchdowns, but, a weight lifted, I don't know if I would use that one. Just, you put a lot of work and effort and sacrifice away from, your family and for the pay, and you just want to be part of a team, and to see it come to fruition was terrific. I got done with the broadcast, and Jason Simpson and I kind of wrapped up the broadcast fairly quickly in atypical fashion, so we could get down there and just kind of soak up some of the fanfare, and I don't look for fanfare when I go to the games. I go to the field, I get the starting lineups, I shake a few hands, and then I get up to my press box, as you well know, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours in advance. And then by the time I'm usually wrapping up my radio equipment, there's nobody left on the field when I walk back down, and I'm okay with that. But I wasn't having that this week, or this particular ball game. This was something that, as you said, I mean, it's a broadcaster's dream to be part of a team that is at the top of a professional league and at the pinnacle, and being able to call and have that call, and all of a sudden, it's an iconic call. I'm humbled and real happy, and just look forward to, God willing, get to have another shot at doing that again.
Yeah, very much. And, I listened to the call because that was one of the things that I realized at the end of the game. I was just like, man, I want to know what Joe is saying up there right now as that last touchdown happened, and then the end of the game. And so I'm so glad that they posted the clips to those two, and they were great calls. You can hear the excitement in your voice, which I think is something that can't be forced, it can't be scripted, and is something that definitely adds a nice little exclamation point to an already great moment and great game. Is just to hear that excitement from the guy who's been calling it all season. So yeah, great call on that. Was glad I got to hear it after the fact. So now the Iowa Barnstormers are IFL champions. You got to call a championship game. What if you had to look back and say what you thought you thought was going to be going into it, and then everything that happened after? Like, was there anything that you would have done differently? Is there anything that you wish that maybe you had done going into calling a game like that, or did it all kind of fall in place the way that you had hoped it would?
No, everything's good Lord's plan, and I believe in the 6 T's, and anything you do, whether it's selling advertising or broadcasting a sporting event, the proper preparation prevents poor performance. And I thought I was prepared, and that's the best way you can honor somebody that you worked with, a colleague, a friend, somebody you respected a great deal. And I just went into it, and I had a great cohort that we John Pettit allowed to come up in the press box, a former Iowa Barnstormer AFL performer Jason Simpson. He did a terrific job. And so going into it, all I wanted to do was honor Larry's memory by doing what I do best, and that is showing passion, bringing my best. And when you're tired and exhausted, doing a 3 to 4 hour broadcast, as you well know, it takes it out of you, especially the way I call a football game. It feels like my central nervous system and my equilibrium and I have a headache, and I literally need to take a 15 to 30 minute break laying prone when I'm done doing a broadcast just to feel normal. But and then afterwards it was just I wouldn't say relief, just mixed emotions, of course, with the passing of Larry and the excitement. Of course, everybody within the organization and numerous fans, of course, his family had mixed emotions, and kind of tempered the moment a little bit. But at the same time, Larry would have wanted the fun to happen and the game to go on, and Des Moines is ecstatic right now, and Central Iowa is ecstatic. As you saw, there's over 11,000 people at the game, and the aftermath has been terrific. Selfishly for a broadcaster, all of a sudden you get thrown up on that pedestal, and then all of a sudden your spoke becomes a little bit bigger. But it's all about the team. It's all about the ownership. It's all about the players and the fans and the sponsors. And today, the Iowa Barnstormers were going to the governor's office. I don't know if you've caught this, but they're going to make a proclamation for the Iowa Barnstormers in their championship win, first ever. So that's a big deal. The Iowa Barnstormers will be cemented forever in Iowa history. And to be able to say you were a small part of that, it's humbling.
Yeah, and you certainly do have your work cut out for you when you're up in that booth. You're lucky that you have a cord on that headset of yours, because it was certainly a pleasure and privilege to be able to see you in action calling those plays, and you would get up and move around with some of the plays, and I was like, man, he's going to run right out of this press box if he's not careful. But you did a terrific job. And you are part of that forever, in whatever way, shape, or form that you want to, say big or small, but you're part of it. And we talked at the beginning of the show about the differences between guys like Dixie Wooten and Curtis Riggs. Seeing what you've seen through Barnstormer history, is there a better guy for a moment like this than Dixie Wooten?
No, and again, everything happens for a reason, and the Iowa Barnstormers had fluttered around with some coaches and some terrific people. Obviously, you go back to John Gregory and Mike Hohensee and Joe Brannon, and these guys have bought it. This is for them as well. They're part of the organization and helped forge what the Iowa Barnstormer brand is. But Dixie Wooten has a different spice, a different flavor. He brought his own coaching staff in. He brought his own coaching staff in from, that they're not local. So they're very focused on their day-to-day operations, and in the off season, they work really hard to get players that are going to buy into the championship mindset. And, you go 12-3 the year before, you end up one game away from the national championship, and then you dismantle your team. Out of 25-man roster, he brought 8 people back, and 2 of those persons, fell by the wayside throughout the course of the season. And so you got a bunch of guys that don't really know how great Sioux Falls is or how great Arizona is, and it doesn't matter. Once you get a coaching staff in place and you get your kids bought into the championship mindset, and you come every day to work and grind, and at the end of the day, you want your guys to have that on their resume, and you want to bring a winning product to the community and the sponsors, and then the players and the coaches want to go elsewhere as well. That's what this league is all about. It's a developmental league, and you want your guys to be thinking about the next step. And if they've got an opportunity to play in the CFL or the NFL, that's what they're here for, to get tape and pass that tape on and move on to the next level. And selfishly, we certainly hope that we can have a good majority of these guys back next year, and Dixie Wooten and his coaching staff, and have another chance at a championship run and a magical season.
It certainly was a magical season. It lived up to the hype as advertised, as you said so many times, and it's like the perfect way to describe that game, that finale. In your mind, covering this team for as long as you have and watching players come and go, coaches come and go, and just the different atmospheres of fans and this season, that season, what do you think this win, this championship means to this franchise as well as the city of Des Moines?
Well, anytime you win a championship, it's terrific for the franchise and the community that you're within, and the history that the Iowa Barnstormers have had in this community. We've had the luxury that no other indoor football league has had, or minor league team has had, whether it's soccer, baseball, football, basketball, is that one of our own homegrown Iowa Barnstormer went on to national prominence and into the NFL Hall of Fame as a Super Bowl champion, Kurt Warner. And, we certainly, ride his coattails as much as we can, and he allows us to, and justifiably so. But, as far as Des Moines goes and the franchise goes, anytime you make it to the pinnacle and win that particular and have that particular status after winning a United Bowl championship, it brought a lot of new fans into the event on Saturday night. 11,000 people. Out of those 11,000 people, probably half of them had never been to an indoor football league game. And so what that's going to do is it's going to build attendance next year. It's going to help out a season ticket holder, season ticket sales, and it's going to help with sponsorships, which can only enhance the product overall by, taking care of the coaches and making sure that they're paid and taken care of properly as far as that goes. And just a huge win for the community, huge win for the sponsors, and the Iowa Barnstormers are very well deserving of the credit that they're going to be getting and have been getting. The local media has just been terrific. The Barnstormers don't have a national budget like the Cubs do. The Iowa Cubs, who are located here in Des Moines, for the listeners nationwide that are tuning in. We have the Iowa Wild, which is a hockey team, which is a parent organization of the NHL. They have a huge budget. And then you have, what used to be the Iowa Energy, now the Iowa Wolves, which is part of the NBA and the G League now. Those folks have huge dollars, and we don't. We rely on local folks to spend money, get behind the organization, and our front office works tirelessly to get the job done. John Pettit, Jeff Lamberti, Jeff Lamberti's our principal owner amongst others, and John Pettit is the he's the guy that everything goes through his desk. And Jeff Lamberti said it very eloquently after the game on the podium that he is the hardest working man in the IFL. And a lot of people don't know what happens in the general manager's office and think that, all he does is sit there and talk on the phone and go out in appointments. And he's there from 7 in the morning until 7 at night, 350 days a year or better. He doesn't take vacation. And, he's got a great support system, and his wife Janice and his daughter Julie in the front office. And so we're all happy. And the Iowa Barnstormers community is very deserving.
Yeah, a terrific front office without a doubt. I always feel so welcome and taken care of whenever I'm in Des Moines. And, it felt great for me too, just because I know so many of you guys, fans, front office, and players alike, that have worked, so hard for this and wanted it so bad. So it was great on my end to see it. Great to see it come on the end of a great performance by both teams. But, we missed you at the tailgate, and then I missed the chance to get a drink with you after the game. So I owe you a drink and a shirt, so you need to get me your size T-shirt, but hopefully I see you sooner rather than later. I don't know what the rest of your summer looks like, but hopefully some much needed and well-deserved R&R for Joe Stacey.
Yeah, you know what? I don't. You know what? You have a 12-year-old daughter and a wife and everything, and all the schedules that go along with that. And one are like none, two are like 10 as far as kids are concerned. I don't think you and your wife have any children yet, besides your cat, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you know what? It's always busy, and life is busy, but it's every day is a blessing, and you take everything in stride. And as far as the party was concerned, we went and had a couple upstairs at Wells Fargo Arena, and pretty laid back, pretty responsible celebration. And I was really bummed out that I had to miss the F.A.N. Fest, which was held Monday at Wells Fargo Arena. I stepped in for my fallen partner, Larry Kotler, and took over his play-by-play duties for doing some local baseball play-by-play. So I missed the F.A.N. Fest, which hurt. But at the same time, I accepted a new responsibility. So I'm doing some play-by-play baseball and having some fun with a local baseball team here in Des Moines.
Well, it's very good of you, and I'm sure the local community appreciates it because, there's no one better on that microphone during the time of the game than Joe Stasi, but you just do what you do, and that's, all that anyone expects of you. And unfortunately for us, you're very good at what you do, Joe. So, again, thank you for everything that you have.
And as well, right back at you, for anybody who's dedicated and puts in the time, the dedication, the preparation, the money, the relationships that you've built. And I you know what, if I, the tailgate was something that I've been looking forward to for 11 years. And typically, when you broadcast a game, you want to get to your press box and you want to get set up and imbibing in alcoholic beverages is something that I do enjoy at a responsible level. But, it was mixed emotions going into that game. I was numb as I drove up to Wells Fargo Arena in downtown Des Moines that afternoon. And I literally sat in my car for probably 45 minutes and just basically had to pull myself out of the car just because of the emotions and the mixed emotions calling a championship game and losing a good friend. And I was nervous to walk into that game. And I wanted to stop by the tailgate. I drove by it on 5th Street and I saw you guys partying, and I wanted to take a right turn in there because I know I would have had a great time and got some great hugs and probably would have missed the game if I would have pulled in there. That's kind of a broadcaster's worst nightmare is missing a game, and I literally have recurring dreams about that. But thank you for showing up, and double X is my shirt size, and I'm working on that, trying to get down to a single X. We'll see if that happens when hell freezes over. But thank you for everything you do, and I saw the announcement on Facebook that you might be kind of pointing your. By the way, it's terrific to meet your wife. You outkicked your coverage, as I said, but you guys might be picking up a shop and pointing it this direction if opportunity comes your way.
Yeah, always looking for opportunity, and it was something that, was a lengthy discussion, but this was her first time on the road with me and her first championship game, and she was she wasn't even overwhelmed. She just dove right in and did what she does best, which is picking up my slack pretty much. And so afterwards, we had such a great time with everybody. It was such a great experience. And so for us to have to come back home so far away from where all the action is and everything, she's like, if there's not going to be a team here, and if what you do isn't going to be here, then let's find somewhere else to do this. And she's like, I will endure Green Bay winters. I will endure, Carolina or Florida hurricanes,
That's really cool.
So
that's really cool. So you did a terrific sales job with your wife. You and your wife kind of collaborated, and you sold her on the fact that this is kind of fun stuff, and you might be able to make a living doing it.
Yeah, it only took 3 years, right?
Good job. And she seems like a really smart gal, a hell of a lot smarter than you, I'm sure.
Very, very much so. You're only as smart as your better half, Joe. You know that.
Got that right, brother.
All right, well, he is the voice of the Iowa Barnstormers and did one hell of a job calling the 2018 United Bowl Championship. So, Joe, a pleasure and honor as always. Thank you so much for all that you do, and I look forward to seeing you, hopefully sooner than later. But, of course, we'll talk again, I'm sure, real quick.
Yeah, and as far as I know I can probably get online, and I'm on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as me being technical. My tweet game's about a 2. My Facebook game's probably about a 7, and I know I need to grab a fan shirt, a fan show shirt. I would definitely like to have one. I'd definitely like to buy one, and I pay my own way. Heck, I bought 15 tickets to the Iowa Barnstormer Championship game, and it's about giving back and being thankful and just being part of a squad. And thank you for what you do. And when you make it out this way, stay in contact with me and let me know what's going on. And of course, I know you're very active on Facebook and Twitter, so I'll probably know what's going on, and don't ever hesitate to reach out if you're in Des Moines.
Yeah, try to keep up, Joe. But hey, you have a great rest of your night. Enjoy the championship win as best you can. Tell the family I said hello, and I hope to meet them next time around.
You too, bro. Take care. God bless.
God bless, Joe.
Bye.
That was once again Joe Stasi of the Iowa Barnstormers, and I called him a mentor of mine a couple of times, and then I realized, I was like, does he know he's a mentor of mine? I might want to get him to sign off on that. But no, what I mean by that is that Joe is, in my mind, what I do, what I have done and experienced over the last 3 years of doing this, he is the standard. I mean, plain and simple. You ask any one of the fans, front office members, players, coaches that have interacted with him, and they will sing his praise, and he has earned every bit of that praise. Now, of course, he is the kind of man that obviously could tell you probably a list of names of people out there that do it better than he does. And for some people, for some fan bases, for some front offices and GMs, players and coaches, there may very well be better than Joe Stasi. I have a biased opinion because of the relationship that we've built over the last year, but the truth is that his character, his priorities, and the way that he does what he does, in my mind, it's the standard. He is the voice of a team. He's lucky enough to be the voice of a team that's a great organization and franchise as well. The fans love and respect him. The players love and respect him. And there's just really nobody better in the indoor football game. A lot of people will say maybe Rich, the Silver Fox out of Sioux Falls, and I have had the honor of meeting him as well. He's a great guy. We had a great conversation at Media Day. And Larry Kotler, who I met before his passing, fortunate enough for that. But Joe, just there's so many things that when I look at what I want out of life, doing what I do, it's like he's the example. He's like, this is what you could be. And it's nothing, there's not a lot of glam that goes along with it. He's not calling, 49ers games on NFL Fox. It's just he does what he does to the best of his ability. And I respect the hell out of that. I respect the hell out of that man. So always an honor and privilege to have him on the show. My personal feeling, I feel like he was the perfect guest to be on the show to wrap up the 2018 IFL season, at least on the show. And then, of course, to recap the championship game. And we have here, let's see. I want to know if I can find that his call on there. But first, we'll do Coach Dixie Wooten's interview with me now real quick, because I promised you guys some interviews from the game that I would play on here for your listening pleasure. So bear with me here while I go and grab those real quick. And let's see. All right, Dixie Wooten, here we go.
The man behind the madness, Coach Dixie Wooten. How you feeling?
Excited, man. I'm so happy right now, man. It's unreal. Just this program was, wasn't at its best 2 years ago, but came in, got to turn it around, and now we got a championship to show for it.
Championship mindset. You preached it, you practiced it, you're bringing it at home. I mean, did you think that was going to be the case when you started it, or was that just motivation?
It was what we talked about. You know, last year was about building a culture. You know, we built the culture 13-3. Then we came back, and it was about championship mindset. So everything we did at practice from day one to now was all about winning the championship.
So there's some banners in the rafters. One that says number 13, Kurt Warner, a Hall of Fame, conference title, division title. One will drop next year to start off the season that says champion, no conference, no division. How does it feel to be the man to bring that here to Des Moines, Iowa?
It's unreal, man. This is a great organization, a great city, man, that was missing a championship. And I'm glad the city got it, man, because you saw tonight how they showed out for us, man. We called them whole 2 weeks, man, and people showed up. So it's amazing what the city will do, and they deserve a championship and a banner.
3 champions in 3 years now for the IFL, obviously creating some great parity. You beat Sioux Falls in what could be the only time you guys will ever play in a championship. Did that have any sort of extra excitement to it?
Because they swept us last year and beat us and kicked us out the playoffs last year. And this year they beat us twice and we only won once. So and they came to our house and we knew we had to beat them, man. And it was a great moment of playing against Coach Ridge because he's one of the best coaches in the game. You know, his record speaks and the champion speaks for itself. You know, so to beat a team like Sioux Falls was a great moment for this team.
Now, John Pettit said on my show earlier that the only thing left that this franchise needed to bring to its fans was a championship. How do you feel about what you've done for this fan base tonight?
It's something real, man. Like, you got fans that was coming to the game with the Kurt Warner days. So this championship is for them as well. They come to the radio shows. They come everywhere the team is. So I'm so happy that they can get a championship too.
Came down to the last play of the game. 4-point difference, but you got it done. That last touchdown was incredible. A real team effort. Does that sum up this season?
That's it, man. You know, we get close, and then all of a sudden the team get together and push straight. So that's what it's about, man. That touchdown showed from February 1st to now how our team play together.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm getting a little bit of contact from the champagne, but congratulations, Coach Wooten, well-deserved.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man. And thank you for everything you do, man. You cover this game. You push this game, man. You cover all the leagues. And we appreciate it because guys like you make us better and make us known, and guys get looks for that. So thank you, man.
It's been an honor, Coach. An honor. Thriller at the well. We're going to get some fan reaction. Here we are, post-2018 United Bowl, and the feeling, elation. Iowa over the Sioux Falls Storm, 42-38, and a thriller at the well. We're going to get some fan reactions right now. First off, though, no fan, but a fan of the game himself, the commissioner, Mike Allshouse. How you feel about this game?
You couldn't ask for a better finish to our season, that's for certain. I know Des Moines and the city and Iowa, the Barnstormers are going to be celebrating tonight, and very well-deserved. Very well-earned championship.
It seemed like a long time coming for the city of Des Moines and Iowa and the Barnstormers franchise. Did John Pettit or any of the owners say anything to you after it was all said and done and the clock hit 0?
Yeah, I think there was just a great feeling of emotion for them, not only for the loss of Larry Kotler, obviously, from last week, very special and near and dear to their hearts, but it's been a long time. It's been a lot of work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put in by the people of this organization, from players to coaches, the front office staff. So just really proud and happy for those guys. It's a really, really special thing.
3 different champions in 3 years now. We've had the United Bowl at a different venue than Sioux Falls for a change, but things have got to feel good on your end as far as the front office and just league standpoint, looking into the future as far as onward and upward.
Yeah, I didn't think there was parity in the IFL. Somehow, it's funny how those things change, but 3 straight years, 3 straight champions, or different champions. It's great, you know. Sometimes you got to get knocked down so you can learn to pick yourself up is one thing that I've learned. So, you know, it's been a very interesting year. You know, only 6 teams. A lot of people counted us out, but I think the best years of the IFL are still yet to come.
I believe that, too. Congratulations on the successful 10th anniversary, and enjoy it however you do.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right.
That was Commissioner Mike Allshouse immediately following my interview with Coach Dixie Wooten postgame. I apologize for the volume. I was so excited for the guys, I was shouting into my microphone, and I did not mean to do that, but it was still a lot of fun. So before we wrap this episode up, this recap of the United Bowl, I figured you guys would probably want to hear the final play of the game. as seen by me from my perspective. So here it is. Just listen to this crowd once they declared a touchdown. Enjoy this final touchdown from the Iowa Barnstormers to seal the victory 42-38 from the well in the 2018 United Bowl. That was a great time for sure, and a time I won't soon forget. So again, thank you, flight crew, Ron, Jimmy, Joe, Connor, all of you guys, Antonio and Jen, and of course Jay Hulk. You guys are amazing, and I won't soon forget the experience. We were welcomed with open arms, and can't wait to see what the future holds. So free agency for the Fan Show started yesterday. And we'll continue, and we will see where I land. I don't know. I don't know where I will land, and I don't know how soon I'm going to get there. But no better time to start the future than right now. So we will see you guys tomorrow night for our weekly BattleBots special. Of course, some talk of football and nonsense. And then we got another big announcement coming up towards the end of the week. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.